In this video, we're going to go through 20 mountain bike tips
to help you out if you're a beginner, to go faster or to crash less.
Learn your bike. Have a look online for the manual, learn how it's put together, look after it. Some bolts might need checking and Loctiting. You'll learn how it works and how to look after it.
Set your sag, made easier with a shock pump, especially if you have air suspension on your rig. Now, setting up your sag on your rig can definitely make or break it. Set your sag, wear your normal riding gear, sit on your bike, and notice how much your suspension drops on the front and on the rear. So I recommend 30% on the rear, 20 to 25% on the front, and from there, you can tweak it. Learn how to fix a puncture, both when using tubes or tubeless. It is key skill to have to get you out of trouble. A lot of riders use tubeless now, and there are tricks to fixing problems, like carrying tire plugs and pumps or CO2 cartridges. If the slice is too big, you may not be able to fix the tire on the trail, but you might be able to save it with a patch later on.
Dial in your controls. Your brake lever, shifter and dropper post positions make a big difference on how comfortable you are on the bike in different riding conditions. Make sure that you set your brake lever up so you can use one finger on the very end for maximum leverage, and also that the angle's right so that they're in the right place and it's most comfortable for when you're using them the most, i.e. braking hard on a downhill. Experiment with tyre pressure. Find what suits your weight, riding style and trails you ride. If you're heavier, ride rocky trails or ride really aggressively, you'll need to be on the harder side of the scale, up to around 28 or 30 psi. If you're lighter, ride flowy trails without any big compressions, then you can go lower, low 20 psi or even just under. Feet first. What your feet are doing will affect your weight position on the bike.
If you're running clipless pedals, it's important to set up your cleats properly on the bottom of your shoe. Now, further back is going to help you when it comes to descending. Further forward is going to engage your calf muscles, but it's going to make it a little bit harder to maneuver the bike effectively.
And if you ride flat pedals, getting a really good combo of pedals and shoes so you've got maximum grip and connection to the bike, particularly when you need it the most in rough and technical sections.
Look for grip, plan your riding line and make the most of the grip that is on the trail. Sometimes that means going the long way if there's no grip on the obvious line. Or look for berms or even edges of ruts to get grip against.
If you aren't able to effectively bunny hop, then you're driving your bike on the trail into whatever's in front of you. When you can unweight over obstacles, the trail opens up and lots more lines become possible and actually easier. But you need to nail the bunny hop technique to make sure you get the timing right to keep it safe. Probably the hardest thing to try and get good at in mountain biking is cornering. There are so many variables and getting it wrong leads to a lot of crashes. Look at where your weight is going. Low and to the outside for maximum grip. Central for stability and turns where you're compressing. Dial your bike setup, suspension and geometry to balance weight and grip across both tyres.
Look at where you want to go, not where you don't want to be. For example, if you see a tree on the exit of a turn, don't look at the tree because you'll automatically end up going towards it. Look down towards the trail that you want to be going. Don't underestimate how important the mental side of riding is. Confidence is key and it takes a while to build and an instant to destroy. Build your speed and ability gradually. Tyres, super important. It can change the way your bike rides out there. So when it comes to picking a tyre for the conditions that you're going to be riding, it all depends on the trail that you're going to be riding and the conditions of the trails itself as well. So if it's muddy, you want to pick one that's quite knobbly and aggressive so you can dig down to get maximum traction. But if it's nice and hard packed, then you want something that's a lot less rolling resistance so you can maintain your speed out there and have a good sidewall support.
Vision. Make sure that you can see the trail properly at all times. Now, I like to use a small mud guard all year round. You can maybe think about more coverage in super wet conditions, and a set of riding glasses with clear lenses when it's wet and dark. Gives you 2 layers of protection. Watch the pros, imitate their style and skills. Can you see how they pick their lines, where they're pumping versus pedaling? There's a lot to learn from watching and then visualizing yourself doing the same thing. Just don't forget, they can make it look very easy.
Learn your preferred speed of spinning your pedals and it becomes instinct on the trail. Much like walking, you'll be planning ahead to where your feet drop. The timing you need is missing all the obstacles beside the trail. You might want to try a slow cadence on flat pedals to minimize the risks of pedal strikes.
Pump to be pro. Making speed from the bumps in the trail is what downhill pros are really good at. That can be obvious rollers, the downsides of jumps, or even lumps of roots. There is speed to be made and is often less risky and smoother than trying to pedal. If you can smooth out your riding, then the speed can come after. Draw smooth lines on the trail. Try to link corners so you're in the right entry spot after exiting the previous corner. Flowing like this might feel slower to begin with, as you need to be more careful mid-turn, but it'll be less tiring and faster if you can keep your momentum in windy sections of trail. Plus, it feels awesome if you can start linking turns together well.
On a full suspension bike, it can work against you when trying to get maximum air. The suspension is sucking up the pop of the takeoff. So to address this, you need to pump the bike in hard at the bottom of the takeoff so that it is ready compressed. Start with small takeoffs to get the feeling of it and use it to your advantage if you need to generate height and length to clear a jump.
Try to push your bike into a skid with too much brake and a little bit of turn. This should give you an idea of the amount of grip on that day in those conditions, rather than just charging into the trail and the first time you find out is in the first turn. Take that confidence and try to learn how to drift. Make your bike slide out without using any brake. This will give you a great feel of where to put your weight to balance the tyres and feel like you're mastering cornering.
Last but not least, ride somewhere different. Variety can make you a better rider.
Yeah, getting good on your home trails can feel really good, but actually to broaden your skills, get out into the wider world and ride different types of trails. Also, it's one of the best things about mountain biking is traveling to discover new places to ride.
Oh yeah.
Let us know in the comments down below if you've got any of your own top tips.
Yeah, help out the community down below with your ones if we've missed out some. And if you like this video, give us a thumbs up, like, and we'll see you next time. See ya. Cup of tea.
Cup of tea.